Hey class, some of you have emailed me recently with questions regarding the theory paper assignment, so I figured that I should make a little video really quick to just address some of those questions because I'm sure some of you might have these questions as well and just haven't asked me yet. First off, with the assignment overview, it's pretty basic, but you're basically going to take a specific theory or concept, definition, etc., from the readings or the lectures and then apply it to an experience that you've had in your life. So, one of the biggest things that I encourage you to do is if you're reading the chapter or you're listening to the lecture or whatever in any way, shape, or form in the course materials, you come across something and you're like, oh, yeah, I can relate to this. Or, oh my gosh, that explains this situation I had with whoever. If you have any of those like aha light bulb moments, that's really what I encourage you to explore with this paper. It's just going to make the overall process of the paper way more enjoyable. And basically, the paper consists of two main parts. You're going to conduct research on that theory. So, what you're going to need to do is utilize databases such as Google Scholar and Western Michigan's online database library. If you have any questions about databases, I provide some material in the content section of e-learning, but also just feel free to send me an email and we can have a discussion about that. But basically, you're going to conduct some research using at least three sources. So one of these can be your textbook, but two others need to be scholarly journal articles. And again, if you have any questions about what that means, let me know. But basically, you're looking for peer-reviewed journals that are published, and you'll be able to look them up in any kind of database. You're going to need to provide in-text citations as you write the paper. And again, I have an APA resources tab in e-learning for information about that. And at the end of the paper, you're going to provide an APA reference list page listing all of your sources. And again, see that APA resources tab for anything regarding your references, in-text citation, all the APA stuff and the reference page stuff you can find in e-learning in that tab. And basically for the theory papers, I'm just laying out what materials are fair game. Theory paper one, modules 1 through 4. So anything that we've covered in modules 1 through 4, that's what you can use for this first theory paper. And then that's basically how it works the rest of the way. I think that's pretty straightforward, but if you have any questions, let me know. Again, I talk about the sources here. You can use Google Scholar, WMU's library database. And don't get upset if you spend 5 to 10 minutes doing research and you don't find anything that you think is relevant or fits. This is going to take some time. Doing the research is going to take you some time. Expect at least an hour or two, maybe even more, to find kind of what you're looking for your theory, because these theories and concepts are used in a lot of different ways and go in a lot of different directions. But you're going to want to find research that somewhat relates to your personal experience that you're sharing in the paper. So spend some time with that and don't get too stressed out if you don't find things right away. It's a bit of a tedious process. Just the paper requirements, two double space pages. Don't have a header at the top of the page. I don't need like your name, the date, course name, my name. Don't eat up space with extra spacing and stuff like that. I want it to be a full two double space pages. And all you're going to need is just a title that's centered with the name of the theory or the concept or whatever, centered in bold. I'll be grading on grammar and punctuation, Times New Roman, 12-point font, must be double spaced. You guys can do all this and figure that out. Just make sure that you upload it as a Word document, not a PDF, when you upload it to Dropbox. And then basically on this assignment sheet, this is just a template. Have a paragraph that's an introduction paragraph. Follow my advice here with how to write that. Come up with your own kind of title here. This is what I want to see in this section of the paper. And then this is where you dive into how it's applied to your life. And then here's a conclusion section. So in the paper, I really do kind of go over what the expectations are for how the paper should look. I give you a template, all that kind of stuff. Use all that stuff that I'm providing you, right? Don't be scared to feel like you're cheating or something like that. This is a true template, and this is kind of how I want the paper written overall. Now, some of you might have questions in terms of what qualifies as a theory, or what concepts, what can I actually use? Does it have to say theory at the end? And the answer to that question is no. And actually, in modules 1 through 4, which this first theory paper is over, social penetration theory is the only theory that's like holistically covered, meaning that all of it's covered, it goes in great depth, like you truly understand what social penetration theory means at the end of that chapter, at the end of that section of the theory. However, there's a lot of other stuff covered in these first few chapters and these first few modules that don't explicitly say theory, if you will. But for example, just kind of browsing through the chapter, in chapter two, we talk about uncertainty avoidance. There's a theory associated with that. There's a lot of conversation on gender and how that's constructed based on a combination of gender roles, your sex, your biological sex, and your sexual orientation. We go over Johari's window, identity, self-concept, social comparison, self-fulfilling prophecy, image management. I mean, these are just a handful of things that you can use. But really, if you come across any kind of definition, like ethnocentrism, for example, and you're like, oh, I can see how I was once in a group and somebody thought their ideas were better than everybody else's simply because that's quote unquote how things operate within their culture. You can use that and run with it. So again, if you come across any kind of definition or concept or idea, and it doesn't necessarily say theory at the end because it's not a full holistic theory that's being presented in the lecture or in the textbook, that's fine. You can definitely still go with that. And I encourage that. It'll make the paper more enjoyable for you if you're focusing on some kind of theoretical concept that you see relevant to your life, or you can reflect on a lived experience and think, oh, wow, this theory really helps me understand that experience that I had. So get creative with it. Don't be scared to think outside of the box. Again, any kind of concept, theory, idea, definitions, anything that pops out to you and resonates with you, that's what I encourage you to go for. If you have any questions along the way in terms of, okay, I'm not sure if this qualifies, I don't know if I can use this, just shoot me an email real quick and I'll give you a green light or a red light on it and kind of let you know how to move forward. So I hope this helps you with a little bit of a better understanding of kind of what I'm looking for with the theory paper assignment. And as always, if you have any questions, just shoot me an email or call me during office hours, and we can kind of hash that out. So good luck, and again, let me know if you need anything from me.